the 2010 Bentley Continental Supersports and the 2010 Cadillac CTS-V. Both cars combined have enough power to pull your house off its foundation.
What you see behind me has 556 horsepower, costs between $60,000 and $70,000, is one of the best four-doors ever produced in the United States. This is the 2010 Cadillac CTS-V, and it's badass, it's fast. In fact, on the Nürburgring, there is not a single car that can take it that has four doors.
Yeah, but how about a car that has just two doors? Now I'm standing in front of the Bentley Continental Supersports. At 621 horsepower, it's got a whopping 65 more than the Cadillac. It also has all-wheel drive, 4 more cylinders, and unlike that car which has one supercharger, the Bentley, well, it has 2 turbochargers. The question is it a better car? It certainly is a more expensive car. Pull the Bentley into your garage, and you've probably just doubled the price of your home.
Now before you start sending emails threatening our mothers because we're comparing two completely different cars, we're not comparing.
But we are driving the cars back to back on some of the most challenging and interesting roads in the country.
More importantly, this car represents a savings of about $200,000.
But as the old saying goes, if you have to ask, you can't afford it. So yeah, the Bentley costs $200,000 more, but we're not going to compare the two cars, obviously. We're just going to see the difference. In a way, it's like flying business class versus flying first class. Before you post any nasty comments, let's start with the obvious. The Bentley has 2 doors and the Cadillac has 4.
Okay, there is obviously inherent goodness to having 4 doors, which is a chunky guy like me can fit in the back seat and actually be comfortable. I don't think it's the same thing for the Bentley.
Okay. I promise you, if I were a purse dog, it'd be a lot easier getting out of the Bentley. But as it is, it's not too bad. Plus, the Bentley's doors close themselves, and the Bentley's trunk opens itself. See, that's got to be worth at least a couple thousand. Well, you have to ask yourself, how much is the engine note worth? From the outside, the Cadillac sounds pretty darn good. From the inside, that's a different story. It sounds a bit like a typical weekend rent-a-car.
Right now, I'm cruising along about 40 miles per hour. Okay, here, I'm gonna put my foot in it, going around some bikers. Did you hear that? Not much to really hear. This is an incredible engine. Why can't you have an exhaust note that people can hear?
The Bentley is a symphony of mechanical sounds. Not only does the engine roar with that deep W12 boom, but when the wastegate pops, it's like God slapping you on the back and saying, "Good job, boy, keep it up."
This is a world-class car, but it doesn't have paddle shifters. It's got buttons. These little buttons here, it's like Nintendo. So, you know, if you're gonna do paddle shifters, have big fat paddles.
Sort of like the Bentley's big fat paddle shifters, but to be honest, the Bentley's 6-speed transmission is so good in sports mode, I never bothered with them. So what makes this car worth more than a house? The answer to that question is just how special you feel driving it. I mean, not only are you the center of attention, if that's your thing, but you just feel like you're enveloped in luxury. And is that worth the cost of a house? You know, if your house is several $1,000,000, it probably is. If your house is several hundreds of thousands of dollars, well, it probably isn't. In terms of ride and handling, both cars are exceptional, except the Bentley has all-wheel drive, which makes it that much more stable.
This has a V8 that, beautiful.
But the Bentley's W12, it eats V8s for breakfast. So there's only one way to tell which car is faster, a good old-fashioned American drag race. So I've got 65 more horsepower, but 700 more pounds. My secret, at least I'm hoping it's a secret weapon, is all-wheel drive.
This engine spools up really fast, actually in some ways faster than that particular beast over there. And just as importantly, this weighs 4,222 pounds. That thing weighs nearly 5,000 pounds. All right, well, I got a simple thing with this. This is definitely first class all the way. This is business class. Very nice, but it's business class. I love this car, but this is the fastest thing I've ever seen that weighs this much.
Cadillac is very impressive. You know, for $68,000, it's probably a supercar bargain.
Yeah, it's a supercar bargain. So you want to trade?
You mean trade the $268,000 Bentley for the, cheaper Cadillac?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to keep the Bentley because flying first class is flying first class. I'm Micah, reporting for TFLcar.com.